less than 2 years ago, you were earning $14 a week as a movie usher, and then $35 a week for driving a truck in Memphis. Today, you're the most controversial name in show business. Do you think you've learned anything from the criticism leveled at you?
No, I haven't.
On your personal appearances, you create a sort of mass hysteria amongst your audiences of teenagers. You're shaking and quaking in the nature of an involuntary response to this hysteria?
Would you say that again, sir?
Well, what about the rumor that you once shot your mother? Well, there's another one, too, you may not have heard before. Several newspaper stories hinted that you smoked marijuana to hit the bottle in order to work yourself into a frenzy while singing. What about that?
First of all, I plead innocent of all charges.
.306 Elvis Presley Drive, East Tupelo, Mississippi, was officially designated an historical site in 1978. But in 1934, the address was 306 Old Saltillo Road, and it was the home of Vernon and Gladys Presley. The couple had married on June 17, 1933. After first living with in-laws, Vernon and his father built the two-room house with $180 worth of lumber. On January 8, 1935, Gladys gave birth to identical twins who were given the names of Elvis Aaron and Jessie Garin Presley. Elvis was born first, and minutes later, Jessie was delivered stillborn. The following day, Jessie was buried in an unmarked grave at the Princeville Cemetery in Tupelo. The world that young Elvis was born into would forever shape his life. For most, the Deep South was a place of hard-scrabble existence. Workdays were long and hard. It was a world of segregation. Blacks and whites rarely mixed. Yet for the poorest of both groups, religion and gospel music played a dominant role in their lives. For young Elvis, the music would become a pathway to legend. By the age of 2, Elvis was exposed to music at the First Assembly of God Church, located just a block from his home. The Presley family also enjoyed attending religious revivals and tent meetings. Later, Presley would remember how impressed he was at the preachers who would jump all over the stage and how the audience reacted to them. On October 5, 1945, Elvis won second prize in a talent contest at the Mississippi-Alabama Fair and Dairy Show. The contest was broadcast over the radio by station WELO, and reportedly, Vernon Presley, who was driving a truck at the time, heard his son on the air and cried with joy and pride. When Elvis was 13, his mother bought him his first guitar. She had saved for months to afford the $12.95. The 12-year-old Elvis sat by the family radio, learning how to play his new instrument. The music of country stars like Roy Acuff and Ernest Tubb, and black singers like B.B. King all helped to form Elvis's musical tastes. In September of 1948, the Presley family packed up all their belongings in the family car and moved to Memphis. Elvis's first home in Memphis was in a one-room apartment at 572 Poplar Avenue. Elvis was enrolled in Humes High School. He was shy and nervous and slow to make new friends. The family struggled to make ends meet and qualified for public assistance, including an apartment in a federally funded housing project. To help out his family, young Elvis had a series of part-time jobs, including working as an usher at the Lowe's State Movie Theater. Slowly, a change was coming over Presley. He began buying flashy clothes at Lansky's on Beale Street, a favorite of country singers and local black kids. He changed his hairstyle from the popular crew cut of the time to wearing it long, slicked back with sideburns. He loved movies, and it has been reported he idolized Tony Curtis. Although he enjoyed dressing like a rebel, he was also a member of ROTC in his senior year of high school. His interest in music continued, but his shyness kept him from performing in public, although he did enter and win a talent contest in his senior year. In June of 1953, Elvis graduated high school. Later, he got a job driving a truck, similar to this one, for the Crown Electric Company, taking parts and equipment to various job sites. His take-home pay was $35 per week. In the summer of 1953, Presley decided to make a record as a present to his mother. He knew that Sun Records, a small recording studio and record label, also allowed people to make inexpensive demo records. Presley recorded 2 songs, My Happiness and That's When Your Heartaches Begin. In January of 1954, Elvis returned to Sun to make a demo record. This time, the studio's owner, Sam Phillips, was there and took an interest in Presley. Phillips put Presley together with local musicians Bill Black and Scotty Moore, and they began to play together. On July 5th, 1954, at Sun Records, the trio recorded That's All Right Mama and Blue Moon of Kentucky as the 2 sides of Presley's first professional record. At 9:30 p.m., and just one day after the record was completed, Memphis disc jockey Dewey Phillips played That's All Right Mama on his radio program. The reaction was immediate. Hundreds of phone calls came flooding into the station. Later that evening, Elvis came to the station and was interviewed by Phillips. Within the next couple of days, Sun had thousands of orders for the record. On July 12, 1954, Elvis signed a 1-year management agreement with Scotty Moore. As record sales mounted and more fans got to see Elvis perform, his bookings increased and he began to appear in packaged shows with people like Hank Snow. But not everyone was impressed with his brash performing style. Elvis made his first and only appearance on the venerated Grand Ole Opry radio show on October 2nd, 1954. After the show, the program's talent coordinator suggested that Elvis think about going back to truck driving. But screaming fans and zooming record sales were telling a different story. At each appearance, the crowds got larger and the press coverage more frantic. Presley's gyrations and gritty R&B sound were something completely new. In a blink of an eye, Elvis had become the hottest act in the South. On October 2nd, 1954, Elvis made his first appearance on the Louisiana Hayride radio show. He was signed as a regular and would make over 50 appearances on the program. While appearing on the program, Elvis met drummer DJ Fontana. Fontana played drums for Elvis on and off from 1956 to 1968. As 1955 began, Bob Neal, a local disc jockey and concert promoter, took over Elvis's management. Although Elvis was enjoying success, he was still very much of a regional phenomenon. In early 1955, Elvis came to the attention of Colonel Tom Parker, who was then managing country singer Eddie Arnold. Parker was actually born in Holland and immigrated illegally to the United States in 1929. After serving in the U.S. Army, he began his career by hawking carnivals and later founded the Great Parker Pony Circus. In February of 1955, Parker began assisting Bob Neal in booking Elvis. In March of 1955, Elvis, along with Bill Black and Scotty Moore, flew to New York to audition for Arthur Godfrey's Talent Scouts, a popular TV showcase for new talent. The act was turned down flat. The rejection may have had more to do with Elvis's image than his singing. At about this time, films were depicting teenagers wearing slick back hair and suggestive clothes as juvenile delinquents and troublemakers. They included The Blackboard Jungle, The Wild One, and Rebel Without a Cause.
You know what kind of drunken brawls those parties turn into? It's no place for kids.
A minute ago, you said you didn't care if he drinks.
He said a little drink.
You're tearing me apart!
As for Presley, even when he would sing an innocent country song, he projected a raw sensuality that made adults very uneasy. It's interesting to note, at just about the same time Presley was turned down on the Talent Scout show, Pat Boone appeared on the program and won first place. But Elvis did make it to TV, just a few days later when he appeared in a regionally telecast Louisiana Hayride show. More concerts followed, and the crowds, along with the frenzy, seemed to increase with each appearance. Finally, things were also improving for the Presleys, and the family moved to a new home on Getwell Street in Memphis. In October of 1955, Presley appeared in a film documentary about Cleveland disc jockey Bill Randall, who was one of the first disc jockeys to play an Elvis record outside the South. Also performing in the film were Bill Haley, the Four Lads, and Pat Boone. The film was titled The Pied Piper of Cleveland, However, due to a dispute over legal ownership, the film was never released. By now, Colonel Tom Parker was taking a more active role in Elvis's career. He began negotiating with different record companies who wanted to buy out Elvis's contract with Sun Records. RCA was the high bidder, and on November 20th, 1955, purchased Elvis's contract for $25,000. In addition, Presley received a $5,000 signing bonus. RCA quickly re-released all of Elvis's previous Sun records and then began to record new records with him. Elvis's first RCA recording session took place in Nashville in January of 1956. The songs included I Got a Woman and Heartbreak Hotel. Less than a year after he was turned down by Arthur Godfrey, Presley was on his way back to New York and his first national television appearance. The program was Stage Show, hosted by band leaders Tommy and Jimmy Dorsey. It was produced by Jackie Gleason, and at first was used for a summer replacement for Gleason's own show. In 1955, Gleason brought back the show as a half-hour lead-in to his own Saturday night show, The Honeymooners. The program was having ratings problems, and it may have been the show's announcer, disc jockey Bill Randall, who first suggested booking Presley. Reactions to Presley's appearance were immediate and decidedly mixed. The CBS switchboard was flooded with calls, some demanding more and others outraged at its vulgar display. Now, controversy swirled around Presley as larger crowds and screaming fans clamored to see him at every concert. Meanwhile, worried parents read lurid stories of Presley's sexual escapades. For Colonel Tom Parker, it all made for an unbeatable combination. It didn't take long for Hollywood to notice Presley. Paramount producer Hal Wallace had Elvis make various screen tests. One of the films Elvis tested for was The Rainmaker. He didn't get the role, but producer Wallace liked what he saw.
The following program is being brought to you in living color on NBC.
Thank you. Very, very nice.
On April 3rd, 1956, Elvis made his first appearance on the Milton Berle television show. By now, the Milton Berle show was being broadcast in color. However, most of Berle's shows only survive in black and white. Broadcast from the deck of the USS Hancock, the showbiz-wise Uncle Milty was eager to jump on the Presley bandwagon. In turn, Elvis got to be seen by over 40 million people.
And now, you guys and gals, all your wives and sweethearts, you're in for a real treat. This is the first time that the Hancock is going to rock and roll while still at anchor. Here's a young man who in a few short months has gained tremendous popularity in the music business. His records are really going like wildfire. He's America's new singing sensation, our new RCA recording artist. Here he is, a big reception for Elvis Presley.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, and now I got a little surprise for you. Here for his very first public appearance, I'd like you to meet my twin brother, Melvin Presley. Melvin?
Berle probably had no idea that Elvis had actually lost a twin brother, and Presley was anxious to please Mr. Television and never brought up the painful reality.
Hello, friends of Radio Land. Radio Land. Radio Land, this is television. Melvin?
Milton or Melvin?
Melvin.
Must have another brother, too. Television? What the heck is that?
Well, it's a little box.
Yeah.
It's got a window in it.
Yeah?
There's millions of people out there, and they're looking in a little window.
Yeah?
They can see you, but you can't see them.
What a dirty peeping Toms. But Elvin, you're wonderful. And keep buying them records, will you, folks? Mel, who's it? You? Elvis. Elvis. Hot dog. Elvis needs the money. But I'll tell you, you're mighty proud to be here on this ship here, the Coke. And I want you to know the Coke. Coke. That's what it says on the side of the boat. USSHANCOCK. Coke. What's the matter? I know how to spell.
That's USS Hancock, Melvin.
Keep buying them records. I'm real proud of you, Elvis.
Well, Melvin, I owe it all to you.
You owe everything to me. That's...
You taught me everything I know.
I'm glad you told that to the folks I did. I taught him his singing style. I used to drop grasshoppers down his pants. That's how I keep jumping around. Grasshopper. Keep buying them records. Do that for us. What are we going to do now?
Well, let's sing a song.
Let's sing a song to do the blue suede shoes. Have soul. Here we go. One more. Take it away.
Well, it's one for the money, two for the show. You ready now? Go get it.
Elvis's acting ability with Milton Berle must have made an impression over at Paramount because just 3 days later, Elvis signed a 3-movie contract with Paramount with a starting salary of $100,000. Colonel Parker put his Elvis plan into high gear. He booked Presley for a 4-week engagement at the New Frontier Hotel in Las Vegas beginning April 23, 1956. Billed as the atomic-powered singer, Presley was paid $12,500 per week. But the one thing that usually shrewd Tom Parker hadn't figured on was that Vegas crowds were older. Elvis's repertoire of rock and roll got a cool reception from the middle-aged crowds, and after 2 weeks, the engagement was canceled. During his stay in Las Vegas, Presley visited Liberace, who was playing at the Riviera. The two musical heartthrobs posed for pictures that were quickly flashed around the world. However, the Vegas setback was quickly forgotten, especially when the Presleys moved into their new home on Audubon Street. On June 5, 1956, Elvis made his second appearance on The Milton Berle Show. Considered one of Presley's wildest television appearances, his unrestrained antics jarred many critics who called him lewd and obscene, while his fans, especially young girls, swooned with delight.
How about my boy? How about him, huh? Come on. I don't know what you're screaming about. I want it the way they're flipping their lids, these girls down here. I don't know, like... I want to tell you, that beat with your foot is absolutely sensational. I want to ask you something, Elvis. If I did that thing the same way you did it, do you think I could get all the girls the way you do?
Well, you might not have to get girls, but at your age, it'll keep your blood circulating.
At my age. It makes me feel like a used car. My taillight may be dragging, but my battery is still charging. I'll tell you that. I want to... What do you do with your hair? With Tony, do you use hair? Tom. No plug.
Occasion of your life in his first big musical since the sensational G.I. Blues.
It'll work. She's jealous.
As he hits the beach with the most luscious armful of delight on the islands.
Don't you like it?
Oh, I love it. And I thank you for thinking of me.
I was thinking of me.
Do you want to kiss me again?
I don't rob cradles.
Did you ever see anything like this in a cradle?
Excuse me, Mr. Garvey. Why can't we settle this?
Did I say move?
Chad, please.
Oh, go on. Turn him loose, sis. Turn that tiger loose.
In June of 1961, Wild in the Country was released. Although Elvis was not giving live performances during the early 60s, his car was. Presley's 1960 Cadillac, which was customized by famed car builder George Barris, was frequently sent on tour by RCA. On May 23, 1962, Follow That Dream opened. Production on the film began in the summer of 1961 in Florida. Elvis arrived on location in his specially equipped bus. The bus was nicknamed Plain Jane because the exterior gave no indication it was Elvis's bus or the luxurious interior within.
It's headed for this theater. It's a new Elvis, one you've never seen before. Uproariously funny as a lawman who does everything wrong but gets the right results. Elvis, absolutely irresistible as an unwilling Lothario who turns to ice every time a lovely lady turns on the heat.
Anybody ever tell you you're very handsome?
Only girls. Take care of the sheriff, Pete. Turn on the music. And make it loud. I like it loud. Well, what are you waiting for? Where's your gun?
I got it.
Louis. Yeah. Yeah, take the flashlight.
Presley was turning out movies at a breakneck clip. Barely 4 months after Follow That Dream opened, on August 29th, Kid Galahad hit the nation's theaters.
It's a knockout. A honey of a picture full of that Elvis kind of action. That Elvis kind of lovin'.
What do you do when you feel like this?
People usually get married, I understand.
All you had were your empty pockets and a shine on the seat of your pants.
Don't push me, Willie. I'm a grease monkey that won't slide so easily.
Shut up, I said.
You can't yell loud enough to make me shut up. Till I tell you what I think of the fight game. I think it stinks. When it does for me what I want to do, I'm getting out.
In April of 1962, Presley had flown to Hawaii to work on his next film, Girls, Girls, Girls. After a month of location shooting, Elvis flew into Honolulu before returning to Hollywood to finish the film.
What are you going to do today, Elvis, after this is all over? You going to sneak out on the beach and get some sun? Take these layers off of my neck so I can walk. All your buddies are... No, I'll probably rest because I've been up for about 2 days. Have you? You been recording lately? Yeah, I did a new album, which should be out in about another month or so. I've been recording and getting ready to come over here. And in this picture, Girls, 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 produced by Hal Wallace, is standing right over there. How many songs have you been singing, Elvis, do you know? I believe it was about 14. 14? Yeah. But none about Hawaii in this one. No, I don't think there's any about Hawaii. You're going to be on a tuna boat in this one. I think the songs in this one are a combination of everything. Rock and roll, a little calypso, and so forth. Kind of hard to concentrate this afternoon. Yeah, you're not kidding. Well, it's hard for me to concentrate anytime.
Girls, Girls, Girls opened on November 21st, 1962. Elvis's drawing power at the box office was holding strong as the film grossed almost $3 million in its first few months of release.
Girls, girls, girls. It's a storm of entertainment that brings down the house. The salty story of a two-fisted guy who wanted to own his own boat more than anything in the world, while every girl on the shore was trying to own him.
At Don Juan and Casanova rolled into one. But in the boat, it's girls. Girls, girls, girls.
Elvis's next film was It Happened at the World's Fair. In September of 1962, Elvis and the film crew began shooting on location at the Seattle World's Fairgrounds. This was one of the very few times Presley left the confines of a closed movie set, and it represented a unique opportunity to his fans to get close to Elvis. But it also posed some major logistical and security problems for MGM, who hired 100 special policemen to protect Elvis while he was on the fairgrounds. 6 special Pinkerton plainclothes detectives were also hired and were at his side throughout the filming.
Everything that has made Elvis Presley one of the greatest entertainment stars in the world. His romances.
Dorothy! Get me my gun, Emma.
Mom, Dad.
What do you mean
But now something new has been added. The warm touch of a great guy. For Elvis has a new sweetheart, little Vicky, too. One of the cutest youngsters you've ever met. Of course, he has a big sweetheart, too. Several of them, in fact.
1 minute, there's something in this eye, and the next minute, there's something in this eye.
He's got something in his eye, all right. Yes, the Space Needle rocks, and the monorail rolls, in an eye-popping riot of explosive hilarity.
Boy, did this man really give you a quarter to kick him? Yes, he's some kind of nut.
And of gorgeous gals, gags, and gangsters.
Get moving. Come on, move.
In November of 1963, Elvis's next film, Fun in Acapulco, opened.
It's moments of drama at the top of the famous La Perla Cliffs and the attempt to dive into the treacherous waters below. Wanted by the shapeliest playmates in Mexico. From the younger set who adores him, to a lady bullfighter who learned her talented passes in the corrida, and a beautiful gal in a bikini who's the shape of things to come.
Oh, it must be a very important mission that sends you off in such a hurry.
If you must know, I'm on my way to La Perla to see your girl.
Why don't you move me?
On January 30th, 1963, Elvis purchased Franklin Roosevelt's presidential yacht Potomac for $55,000. He presented the boat to Danny Thomas in care of St. Jude's Children's Hospital in Memphis. Elvis's acts of charity became legendary. Only a few were captured on film, like this check he is giving to Bud Abbott and Barbara Stanwyck for the Motion Picture Relief Fund. During Christmas time, Presley passed out over $50,000 in checks to various charitable organizations in Memphis. When it was announced that Elvis would pass out checks, Presley laughed and said, "Elvis is just going to pass out, period." But most of his charitable work was done in private. 1964 saw more Elvis films, including Kissing Cousins and Viva Las Vegas. Presley's co-star in Viva Las Vegas was sexy Anne Margaret. Rumors flew all over Hollywood that the duo were having a torrid romance. At one point, Anne Margaret actually announced to the press that she and Presley were engaged. Presley quickly put an end to the rumor, and the couple's romance cooled.
Viva Elvis! Viva Anne Margaret! Viva the excitement when these two let themselves go on a wild and woolly whirl through Funtown, USA. Yes, the sky's the limit for love, laughter, and those wonderful new sounds.
It's a pleasure to hear a man's opinion and not have to listen to the stubborn ravings of a boy who won't grow up and...
The Elvis bandwagon of hit songs and movies seemed to be unstoppable. But by 1964, the Beatles had arrived.